These are big kids, and this particular student was, I'm pretty sure she's bigger than I was. If I could go back and do this all over again, I would not have done what I did. She pushed her desk forward. The shield, I remember, almost fell down. I felt like she was going to do something. This is episode 2 of Storytime. I'll just call it Storytime. Unlike my more traditional teaching videos where I share tips, advice, how-tos, that kind of thing, this is more of an audio type vlog. I'm not really doing much editing here. It's just me talking. So, you know, if you're going for a walk, going for a drive, doing a little bit of cleaning, you could just listen to this then, or watch, whatever you like. I am aware that many of my viewers are aspiring teachers or newly hired teachers, and that you enjoy hearing real life stories of what happened in the classroom. Nothing that's kind of glossed over, just real authentic stories. And that is what I am trying to share with you without disclosing too much information, if you know what I mean. So when I was aspiring to teach high school, one of the things that I worried about were behavior problems, but you know, I had already dealt with behavior problems at the middle school, nothing new there. But you know, in high school that teenagers tend to be a bit larger and their hormones are really soaring. I get to the high school, I'd actually replaced an English teacher who quit her teaching job. I get there, everything is going great, okay? I'm loving the students. Is everything perfect? No, but I am just enjoying being there. I love this age group. I'm loving the content that I'm teaching. I just had a lot of that natural enthusiasm you have when you first start teaching, you know what I'm saying? So there was this one student who was absent most of the time. I got there and we were kind of ending a semester. I had only about 3 weeks with the first set of classes that I kind of walked in on. So there was this one student, she was absent all the time. I hadn't really met her. She gets there. She completely, do I want to say ignored? She doesn't ignore me because she did say hello. I remember her looking very surprised. I don't think that she even knew that our school had found a replacement for her English teacher. She comes in, she sits all the way in the back. She was actually sitting in somebody else's seat, but they were absent that day. She's back there, I'm teaching, and I'm just all, you know, animated and, you know, just trying to provide a little context. I'm a very energetic, animated, enthusiastic kind of teacher, but I am hardcore, I am solid on my expectations, my routines. I go from that overarching like smile to Batman real quick. And you know, you have just made this classroom feel like Gotham. Put that cell phone away. That was a terrible Batman voice, but so here's what happened. The kind of moments that we fear in our first year of teaching. She sits all the way in the back. I talk to her, you know, make sure, figure out who she is, tell her she can sit there, let her know she's sitting in someone else's seat and that we could figure out another seat later. And I could tell that she didn't want to be bothered. So I respect that to an extent. So I start teaching, right? And then I hear something. Take a minute to think about what I heard. Music! I hear her music, not in AirPods either. She's just playing music from her cell phone. She's in the back of the room and I could hear it. So I'm trying to, you know, not create tension in the room or single anyone out, even though she was clearly doing something wrong and she had to have known that. But whatever, I asked her to turn it off. You know what she did next? She turned it up. It became louder. And this went on about 2 or 3 times until her music was so loud, I don't think that she could have even hired the volume anymore. Now, if I could go back and do this all over again, I would not have done what I did. And that's kind of why I'm sharing the story with you. It's not just about her. It's about me and the decisions that I made. And the thing is like I knew what I should have done, but sometimes we get caught up in the moment. Now look, this was around the time when we were coming back from COVID, so every desk had a shield around it. So she's behind a shield. What I think came over me was, in a way, I'm used to teaching middle schoolers, okay? They're a bit smaller, just their energy is different, right? I'm not saying that I felt like I was in a room of adults, but I mean, these are big kids. And this particular student, she's bigger than I was. So it's just like this different vibe that I wasn't used to. So when she did that, It really irked me. I didn't do anything crazy, but what I did, I was reactive. Here's what I did. I walked up to her pretty quickly. I got pretty close to her. I yelled something along the lines of,
I did not leave middle school to come to high school and continue to teach middle school.
She pushed her desk forward. The shield, I remember, almost fell down. And I really did, in that moment, like, I thought that she was gonna, like, I don't know what I thought she was gonna do, but I felt like she was going to do something. And real quick, I had that moment of stop being reactive right now, or one of those other stories that you hear about is about to become your story. I backed up. I told her she had to go. I said, you gotta go. You gotta go, you gotta go. I said, take your phone, take your stuff. I just knew that she had to go. I knew that we were not going to get past this moment, and I certainly can't go, so I told her she had to go. She immediately just starts cursing me out. She's just saying all kinds of curse words in class. I have completely lost the lesson, which I'm not even concerned about anymore. I really just needed her to go. And if you're wondering what the aftermath was, I kind of got lucky, and our climate and culture leader, that really our disciplinarian, he happened to be in the hallway during that moment. And you know, I gotta tell you, I barely even had to state what had just happened. I remember him saying to the student, if you got her this riled up, if you got her this upset, we need to talk. You need to come to my office right now. And he told me, he's like, you just keep teaching your class. I got this. We'll talk later. I mean, how lucky did I get in that moment? I consider that pretty lucky, because if nobody had been there, she probably would have just walked out. I don't know where she would have ended up. I would have had to have like tried to find someone to talk. It would have been like all this hide and seek, and is she gonna come to class the next day? I got very lucky in that he was right there. He took her right away. I immediately was able to follow up with him and all the things, right? Kind of has a happy ending. So here's what happened. She never came back to my class. There were only about 2 weeks, if that, like at most, 2 school weeks left of class. She pretty much already failed, and I'm sure that she knew that, so she just never came back. If you're wondering if I called home, of course I did. I had already called home when she never showed up to class, so now I'm calling home for the second time, leave a voicemail. I never heard anything back, and that's really sad. You know, you start to wonder where these students are coming from, and you know, suddenly you find yourself justifying their behavior, which you shouldn't do, because the last thing you want to do is lower your expectations because you feel a sense of sympathy. You really shouldn't do that, but it is good to be empathetic. The reason I say it kind of has a good ending is because, so I had never seen that student for the rest of the year, not even in the hallway, just nowhere. But I have seen her multiple times this year. Don't get me wrong, we're not the best of friends, but it was like nothing ever happened. She smiles at me in the hallway. I more so have interacted with friends of hers. You know, I might jump into one of their TikToks or something like that, and she's totally okay with it. It really was as if it didn't even really matter to her. It mattered more to me than it did to her. And that's it for this story, because I'm not willing to disclose any more information than that. I'm thinking about attaching a Google form to all of my stories as an opportunity for you to share your story, hopefully in some detail, and then I can kind of turnkey your story so that I'm not just sharing my own Title I school districts, high school stories. I can share yours as well. If you would like for me to be the voice of one of your stories, please let me know in the comments, and maybe the next time I share a story with you, that Google form will exist. See you next time. Bye, folks.